What's up, movie lovers? I'm Mike, and this is Gotta Love Them Movies. Da-na-na-na-na-na, 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 da-na-na-na. X-Men Apocalypse is in theaters. X-Men Apocalypse came out in theaters like 3 weeks ago. You know what? It had some problems with it. So let's break it down. X-Men Apocalypse. The title character, Apocalypse, is supposed to be like the biggest, baddest, like, heavy of the universe. He's, kind of easily defeated. Here's the problem with, like, the big bads in movies. Marvel especially. But this is, kind of a problem that we're getting into now these days. You try, the script writers and the filmmakers are trying to make these films like, oh, the stakes of the world are so big. And, it's the story of one film, so you need to find some kind of a resolution, and it gets wrapped up in a nice little package bubble. Well, job well done, fellas. Congratulations. Nicely done. And that's not how life works. Even in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, granted, like, they're going through their big bads, like, really quickly. But, you know what, to Marvel's credit, is their world building. Okay, yeah, they're going through their villains very quickly, but, they're fleshing out their universe. Like, there's a lot happening in this world. Whereas in the X-Men franchise, it's kind of finite in the directions that it can go. It can't really branch out to the sides too much. It's just barreling forward, and so they're not taking into consideration the fact of, like, you can world build. They're wasting major opportunity here. In terms of the script, in terms of the story itself, there's a lot of things that don't add up. Apocalypse has all of these powers, but what are they? How do they work? What are the rules of Apocalypse's powers? In terms of character design, Apocalypse doesn't look terrible. He looks okay. I wasn't initially pleased with how he looked, but once I kind of wrapped my mind around it, I was like, all right, that's fine. I don't like his size, because Apocalypse is traditionally a large character that can change his size at will. That's one of his powers. And they never explained it. They kind of alluded to it in, like, that dreamy sequency thing. There's a dream sequence thing, so you know. They focus heavily on the story of Magneto. They focus heavily on, what are all the X-Men doing now? Who is this Jean Grey person? And Scott Summers, you are new to this school. Great? Kind of. Ty Sheridan did a great job as Cyclops. I'm not a huge Ty Sheridan fan, but when I saw him on screen as Cyclops, I was like, that is Scott Summers. He nailed it. I just don't like his dumb baby face. Ty Sheridan has a dumb baby face, guys, in case you haven't noticed. He has a dumb baby face. Sophie Turner, great on Game of Thrones. Not so great as Jean Grey. Nightcrawler. He didn't do it anywhere near as good as Alan Cumming. There, I said it. It was weird. I didn't like his interpretation of Nightcrawler. Angel was not Angel. Angel was not Angel. Period. End of story. He was Archangel. Even before he became Archangel, he wasn't... He wasn't even Warren Worthington, guys. It was weird. Havoc looked weird with long hair. I get it. It was the 80s. Like, what was the point in, like, setting it in the 80s? Other than First Class did the 60s, Days of Future Past did the 70s, and Apocalypse doing the 80s, and apparently the next movie is going to be in the 90s. Okay, I get that, kind of. But at the same time, I'm like, was there a need to set this in the 80s? Because they didn't really make good use of the 80s. Days of Future Past made good use of the 70s. First Class made good use of the 60s. Apocalypse did not make good use of the 80s. It didn't. Storm that was a weird... Her accent kept changing. Alexandra Shipp, I'm sorry. I'm sure you're a nice person, but for the most part, you did fine as Storm, but your accent kept changing, and they didn't give you a lot to work with in terms of the script. Simon Kinberg. Magneto, they focused way too much on his story and his family. Here's the thing, it worked and it didn't work. It worked because, wow, that was an emotional scene with Michael Fassbender in the woods. That was hugely and the events leading up to that scene, hugely emotional. It didn't work because they spent so much time on that story. This is Apocalypse's movie. 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. They all die at the beginning of the movie. Death, war, pestilence, famine. And they don't even name them. They're just kind of like Apocalypse's, like, 4 right-hand men. One of them's a woman, so 4 right-hand people. Cool. But we don't know who they are. We don't know... I mean, there's like a real quick, brief synopsis of, oh, he always had these followers, the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Sounds like he got it from the Bible, or the Bible got it from him. So we have that quick little, like, throwaway exposition, I guess, which is fine. But what's the point in having the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse if we don't get to see the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse? Also, when Apocalypse, like, in present day, when he came back to life, or I don't know how that happened, and now he's recruiting his 4 horsemen again, and he gets Storm and Psylocke and Angel, who is now Archangel-ish, and Magneto. There's no rhyme or reason for why he picked them. Second of all, they were not imbued with the powers of famine, pestilence, war. So what was their function? They were just, hey, this is a good idea. Hey, let's help this guy destroy the world. There's a good idea. No, it's not a good idea. Like, that is a terrible character motivation for you right now. Oh, man. And if I can return back to Scott Summers and Jean Grey, the whole time, and Nightcrawler too, he fell into this trap. They're all saying, oh, we can't control our powers, we need help, that's why we're here at the school. But then they all don't have any problem controlling their powers. Like, they do exactly what everybody needs them to do right when they need them to do it. Ugh. Alright, so here's the thing. It had some great action sequences. It had some great moments. It had some really good character building. It did. It told the story that it wanted to tell decently. Having said that, it fell way short of any sort of fan expectation. So here is how I'm going to rate the movie. We're going to rate it in terms of acting. We're going to rate it in terms of directing, script writing, fun, and what's the overall takeaway. So in terms of acting, everybody did a pretty good job. Michael Fassbender's Magneto, very powerful, very emotional. Nicholas Hoult as Beast, we're going to forget about, because there was no reason for his character to be in the movie, period. James McAvoy's Professor X. Jennifer, who cares? She did fine. She was not Mystique. Mystique's a bad guy. She's manipulating people constantly. There was no manipulation whatsoever. You know what? Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow would be a better Mystique than Jennifer Lawrence. There, I said it. Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse, pretty good job. It was a different interpretation, but you did well. So I'm going to give the acting score 15 out of 20. Directing, you did what you set out to do. And you just keep rehashing the same stuff over and over and over, Bryan Singer. And storytelling, the storytelling was, like I said, it was all focused in the wrong places. I mean, technically, the editing, the lighting, no, I will take editing back. The lighting, the costume direction, set design, I guess that stuff was okay. But why put Jubilee in the movie if you're not gonna use her? So directing, you're getting a 12 out of 20. Same thing with the script. 12 out of 20 for the script. Simon Kinberg, come on, man. Like, you can do better than this. I mean, I guess this is better than Fant Four Stick. I guess. No, it is better than Fant Four Stick. That Josh Trank, he tanked that movie. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Fun. Was this movie fun? It had its fun moments. Quicksilver had great moments. 2 great moments. We'll set to Annie Lennox. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Like, who saw that coming? It just happened. And you're like, oh, this is amazing. So it was fun. But the overall message, everything that the X-Men stand for about, like, equality or, like, basic human rights, like the opportunity to break down barriers and to share yourself with the world and not just say, hey, look at what we can do, but like try to repair those human relationships that have been broken. So many missed opportunities. So many missed opportunities. The X-Men are a modern fairy tale for the world that we live in. Like, that's kind of the purpose of why they were created. And there's a huge relevance for them today, and they were wasted. Like, all of those things, all of those elements were just kind of wasted. We didn't get to see why the X-Men are important on a human level. Yeah, we get to see why they're important, like, to save the world, but that's what the Avengers are for. Like, the X-Men are specifically designed to cater to those people in the world who don't feel like there's a place for them in the world. And then even more than that, like, you take it a step further, you got the Morlocks. Now we're getting nerdy. You've got the Morlocks who can't be in society, and so they hide in the sewers. And so why can't we use these characters and these stories to help inspire people to be who they are and to be proud of who they are? And not just say mutant and proud, but actually show us what that looks like. Missed opportunity, guys. So the overall takeaway, I got to give you an 8. For a total score of 59%, which isn't terrible, but it's also not as good as it could have been. So breaking that down on the Gotta Love That Movie scale, we're giving you a 2.95.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
So guys, what did you think of X-Men Apocalypse? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you somewhere? Are you somewhere in between? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that's what the X-Men would do. They would share it. Alright, movie lovers, I'm out of here.